can you say, welcome to the 30-something movie podcast?
Welcome to the 30-something movie podcast.
We're going to add that in, right?
Oh, yeah.
Fasten your seatbelt. I am taking you for the ride of your life. I'm going to show you what this car can really do. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Hang on.
Okay.
Here we go.
Hold on to your butts.
Forget him, kid.
To infinity and beyond!
It might be a tumor.
It's not a tumor. It's not a tumor at all.
So you can go ahead and ask me what you're going to ask me, and my natural response could be to get offended.
Well, fine, let's talk about it. Any thoughts of your own on this matter? But is that your thing? You come into a bar, you read some obscure passage, and then pretend you pawn it off as your own idea just to impress some girls?
Just another American who saw too many movies as a child?
Yeah, well, you know, that's just like, your opinion, man.
All right.
You're listening to the 30-something movie podcast. One movie each week, 30 years in the making. God help me, I'm sitting around a table with 4 other people for the first time in what do we figure, 4 years?
At least 3 years.
Before COVID.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think the last that I remember we were in person, you guys were talking, The Mandalorian had just come out.
Okay.
I had not gotten Disney Plus yet, and I had to leave the room and walk around. We were recording at the school.
So this would have been in your old office, probably.
Yeah.
His old, yeah. Oh,
No,
actually,
we were
my
probably
office,
in
yeah.
your little,
Yep.
your,
I think we were in
your
the little thing, yeah.
closet there.
Yeah.
I don't think we did one because that would have been 2019, right?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we've been near the end of 2019 before we...
And then
Oh, here we all are, guys.
No, here we go.
Here's
So,
to us.
Hasn't been
You have-
bad. Hasn't been bad.
Nazdrovia.
there we go. We have some of us were able to handle the adult beverages we poured
what's
for
that one
ourselves.
called again?
And some of us are Dennis.
Some of us are Dennis.
Sambuca? What is it? I don't know what it was.
Lagavulin.
Rusty Nail.
And,
Lava
and Drambuie.
Kazoo night.
So anyway, this is the
Lemonade.
30-something movie podcast.
Lemonade.
What I need and want out of each and every one of you is a hard target discussion of every plot point, story angle, camera angle, podcast, broadcast, armcast, and outcast in this film.
You rehearsed
Our
that.
movie's name
Right, he just that
is The Fugitive.
practicing that in his head all
I have.
the last
Oh,
week.
me-
I haven't even talked to my family in the last couple
Oh,
of
it's
days.
on his
but
iPad right in front of him. This is why you don't want to record in person.
I have
see all
some
your
of
tricks.
this. I have some of this in my
We
iPad.
can
It's
see
like the
all your
wizard.
tricks.
Well, you think I have the like when I go down the actors and directors and everything else? You think I have that memorized?
Well, no, I know that's in front
Oh,
of you,
okay,
but all
okay.
this other quote-unquote clever stuff that
Oh,
you
I have
you claim to
some
come
of the
up
clever
with.
stuff is written down, but some of the clever stuff just rolls off
Okay.
into what I don't know.
see how
That's
that
the
goes.
podcast magic, is you never know what's what.
That's true.
Let's see how it goes tonight.
I
Roll
half
away,
of-
my friend. Roll away.
half of what I do might be in post, so
Oh, trust me, more than half tonight is going
might
to
be more than
in
half.
post.
There might be a little bit more editing than usual in this one.
I
so
seldom know what's what.
that's okay. It's like the Matrix, Pat.
It's a great plan.
I'm fine.
I
I
think
to
that
be a
makes
part
you
of
the
it.
victim in the whole thing.
I could
you think
quite
it does?
possibly be. Yeah. We should get that out of the way right away. Who is the victim in this movie?
So we put Pat and Dennis on opposite sides of the table from each other because they may try to kill each other based on a previous discussion that they are bringing into this this event this evening. So,
All
as-
I can recommend to the listening audience is if you have not heard our Falling Down episode, you might need it for this.
a little reference.
Yeah.
Also, because we're in my house, I'd appreciate no bloodshed.
Okay.
So take the
all I
bloodshed outside is
If
what
it's
I
going to
heard.
get to that, go outside.
Okay.
We'll keep
you
it
can
clean.
shed all kinds of other stuff, but no blood.
Yeah. Wait, what?
All right.
I don't.
Here we go.
As the hairiest guy at the table, I try to vacuum up
I
that.
understand. So this is one of the first times in a while we've had everybody all together too. So
Yeah.
Wearing the shirts.
wearing our shirts as well.
Yeah.
So
So we
wearing
took
our
a picture
podcast
that I
shirts.
have a hunch John will post.
We'll post that.
If you,
up. We'll
if
post
you
it.
all listen hard enough, you can hear our shirts. I don't even know.
And the shirts are saying, help us!
I don't know what that means.
Help
We're
us!
gonna have to
So,
publish.
some of those shirts that are stretched out are saying "Help me."
Indeed.
We're gonna have to publish like
Save me.
Is that your phone? A glossary of terms and
Somebody's.
references in this movie. Okay, what does that one mean?
All right. Well, let's go around the circle. You can introduce yourselves this time since we're not on Zoom. So to my left, which nobody cares because you're listening to this in your ears, Pat Canigallo.
Hey.
How are you doing, Pat?
I'm good. Do I have to lean forward to speak into the mic?
It would be helpful.
Hey, don't bang the table.
I'm sorry, I got.
Don't bang the table. It would be
Say a
helpful
little
if you
something
lean
into the
forward.
microphone.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Don't be afraid. See, that sounded wonderful.
Was that good?
That was great.
I do what I can.
Are you new here? What's going on?
I feel like I'm new to this microphone.
Music teacher, but he's never used a microphone before.
Well, he's a trumpet player. You don't put a
That's
microphone on a trumpet. They're too loud.
Yeah,
That's
It's just
true.
a thing.
The microphone thing is
Understood.
the microphone thing is new to me.
Okay.
I'm uncomfortable. I know we're on switch seats.
No.
With who? Over here,
His phone's being dropped over here.
There's no room.
you don't know what's going on in this.
Jeffrey, how are you doing? And we are in Jeffrey's man cave.
Hey,
Right now.
welcome
we are
everybody.
at Mazuka Manor, so thank you for hosting.
Welcome to the man cave, everybody.
Tastefully decorated in Star Wars and other movie memorabilia.
Thank you. I tried.
Hats off to the decorator.
Thank you.
Yes. Very
Thank
nice.
you.
Very nice. How are you doing, Jeff?
I'm well. I'm excited that one, we're all together
Yeah.
doing an episode, and two, we're all together in person
Yes.
doing an episode. That's even better. So, and three, that we're all here at my house doing this, because I appreciate you guys willing to price the drive and the time and all that too.
Thank you for offering.
Yeah.
Thank you for
So
offering.
hey, if it goes well and we're not too rowdy, maybe we can do it again sometime.
Absolutely.
As long as my wife says it's okay, I have to check with her first.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, I was thinking of us doing like a retrospective on Howard the Duck soon. So, do you want to do that at some point?
Duck boobs.
Guys, come on, Dennis is feeling victimized.
Have you seen on Facebook those memes
thing
where
on?
it says, "I'm personally attacked by this meme"? I feel like that's where we're at now.
So, are the duck boobs the victim, or
Rolling with the punches.
okay?
Rolling with the Lagavulin.
It's the best they got.
Bo, how are you doing?
Yo,
Yo,
I'm doing well, John. How are you?
Keep drinking, you'll feel better.
Dennis is over here mumbling to himself. How are you doing, Dennis?
I'm doing good. I'm not John and I'm not Pat, so I'm doing really good.
Some anger.
Anger
Have
issues.
you thought about therapy?
Just make sure the soda only costs 50 cents.
He's an angry elf. So anyway, as I said earlier, our movie
John,
tonight
why are we
is.
here? Why are we here?
I don't even know why we're here. Our movie is The Fugitive. This one came out on the 6th of August, 1993, rated PG-13 with a runtime of 2 hours, 10 minutes. Directed by Andrew Davis, who also directed Under Siege and Holes. Writers for this one were Jeb Stewart, who did the screenplay, David Twohy, who did the story and screenplay, and Roy Huggins, who created the characters, who had done the original TV series that came out, I think it was in the 60s. Wasn't that when it came out? Roy Huggins died in 2002. Jeb Stewart did Die Hard, David Twohy did Pitch Black, and Huggins did The Rockford Files. Producer was Arnold Coppelson, who died in 2018, produced Platoon and Seven. Music was done by James Newton Howard, who did Space Jam and Unbreakable. Michael Chapman was the cinematographer. He died in 2020. He did Taxi Driver and Raging Bull. And here's the fun one. Editors. This movie had 6 editors. Movies don't typically have 6 editors, especially movies that are up for Oscars. And I think this was like one of the very few Oscar movies that had as many editors as it did. So it's a little crazy. Don Brochu, David Finfer, Dean Goodhill, Dov Hanig, Richard Nord, and Dennis Verkler, who died in 2022. They were all the editors for this one. Brochu did Volcano, Finfer did Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, Goodhill did Blood and Bone, Hanig did Last of the Mohicans, Nord did Species 2, and Verkler did Hunt for Red October.
Not a bad resume, anyway.
No. And normally you don't have that many editors unless it's going to be a complete disaster.
So is that
that's-
just because, like, you've got too many cooks in the kitchen type thing? Why is that bad? Why
So
would
certain
that be
films that might, well, and typically in a normal movie, it would probably be a bad thing because there's one person kind of with this vision and they're doing the whole thing. Okay. When you'll have this situation similar to, I want to say Terminator, any of those type of films, anything that's got a lot of chase scenes in it. Chase scenes are very complex and very hard to do. So my guess is they weren't all sitting there together editing the whole movie straight through. He was in charge of this chase scene. He was in charge of that chase scene. He was in charge of different components, and they put them all together.
In charge of just
that would be
the
my
train
guess.
crash.
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
That scene was,
and that's all they do
got
is
one
the
shot at that, so they ran as many cameras as
So they were
could
probably
to piece
assigned.
that together.
Yeah.
And
So they're probably assigned a different section of the movie, a different set of
Okay.
scenes, and they then combine all those chase scenes because chase scenes are complicated.
Yeah.
And I know, like for Terminator, there's a guy who's like, when I had the chase scene when they were in the kind of the highway, the motorcycle, it was not the first one; it was the one with the kid in it.
Terminator.
Yeah. And he's talking about that chase scene. And he's like that was his chase scene. So there was other people who edited that. I'm assuming had different parts. Okay. He wasn't the only editor. So usually you'll see multiple editors when there's high intensity action chase scenes.
Yeah. And this movie was like
it's all one big chase scene.
Chase scene.
And depending on the film, at least from my limited experience, and Dennis can probably chime in with more, but sometimes the editor can affect the image and the way the story is told as much or more than a director, depending on that working relationship with the director and the editor. Like, because an editor can come in and make a cut here that the director never thought of, and the director's like, oh, that's amazing. Or when you hear about studio interference later on, sometimes the editor made a cut that the director hates, but the studio's like, ooh, we like this.
Yeah.
And then there's that whole war back and forth. So
that's why good editors are like the unsung,
That's why that's like the Jaws story.
The Jaws story. They loved, I think it was Mother Cutter, they used to call her. I forget what her name was, but that was her nickname, and that's who Spielberg trusted. Because he said, I wanted everything in, and she was like, no, that shark only looks good here with this many frames. And if you keep this many more frames more, 2 frames more, it looks like a big white floating turd, was I think the words of Spielberg is what he actually said. And, he's like, I remember being on that barge. I remember filming this scene. So he needs somebody there that's a clear-cut vision of eyes to just be like, no, this is what works.
And who maybe isn't married to what he shot.
Yeah.
And he trusts that he's probably not the editor, but then you have also other like Quentin Tarantino and a lot of these other people, like I know, like Jerry Lewis always edited, like was in with editing his film. They wanted that control over because he said exactly what Bo was saying, that if you edit it wrong, you can change a whole scene. So.
Interesting.
Yeah, and actually, I was going to throw this in. We normally don't go through and talk about the Academy Awards, but this one did win Academy Award for Best Actor in a Supporting Role, Tommy Lee Jones, and then it was nominated for Best Picture, Best Cinematography, Best Sound, Best Film Editing, and Best Special Effects, Sound Effects Editing, and Best Music Original Score. So it had a lot of nominations for this one. And editing, that was one of the things that I read, was typically if a movie has this many editors to it, like it doesn't necessarily get nominated for editing, that this was kind of a rarity for that. So budget on this one was $44 million. Box office was $368.9 million. So it done well.
It did all right.
Flick Metrics gives this one an 80%, and Cinema Score gives it an A+. Starring Harrison Ford as Dr. Richard Kimble. He was in Indiana Jones and Witness. Tommy Lee Jones was Sam Gerard. He was in Men in Black and No Country for Old Men. Selah Ward played Helen Kimble. She was in Runaway Bride and The Day After Tomorrow. Julianne Moore was Dr. Ann Eastman. She was in Far From Heaven and Hannibal. Joe Pantoliano was Cosmo Renfro. He was in The Matrix and Memento. Andreas Katsoulis was Sykes. He was in Babylon 5 and Star Trek The Next Generation. Anybody remember what character he played in Star Trek The Next Generation?
Captain Tomalak?
Commander.
Commander Tomalak.
Yeah.
Well, it's easy after John says it.
RSVP.
Yes.
I know. But believe it or not, I was thinking about that.
Into the microphone, please.
His character on Babylon 5 was amazing. Jakar was.
I still haven't watched that.
Oh, so good.
That's what you were going to say.
That's all I got. That's all I got.
That's slop over.
Bo had a Babylon 5 moment.
Okay. Were you going to have a Babylon 5 moment?
I was not. I need to watch it.
He was just going to babble on.
Babylon.
That's what we tend to do.
Ramble.
Yeah. Jerome Krebe played Dr. Charles Nichols. He was in The Living Daylights and Ever After. And Jane Lynch was Dr. Kathy Walland. She was in Glee and A Mighty Wind.
Oh, Mighty Wind. So good.
Actors.
Great soundtrack. You should buy it. It's awesome.
I have not seen A Mighty Wind yet.
Really?
I know.
Dude,
I need to see it.
Really?
Yeah. I have not seen, you know what? I have not seen A Mighty Wind, and I have not seen Best in Show.
Ooh.
Yeah. I got some things I have to fix. Yeah. They're on my watch list. So.
I've seen Best in Show. I've seen Mighty...
Parts of Mighty Wind.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I've seen the whole Mighty Wind, but I've seen enough of it.
Yeah.
You know? Best in Show.
Waiting for Guffman.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I got some trivia stuff for us before we jump into the movie itself. Harrison Ford damaged some ligaments in his leg during the filming of the scenes.
In every movie.
He does. He broke his back in
in Temple of Doom.
Well, in Temple of Doom, but then he do it again in
Solo, right?
No. Oh, why am I blanking on this? The first of the new ones.
Yeah.
No, he broke his leg in that one.
Yeah.
Oh, did he break his leg? Okay.
Millennium Falcon door.
No, not why am I?
On it.
We all love Star Wars.
The Force Awakens.
The Force Awakens.
Good
thank
God,
you.
thank
Good
you.
Lord. It's the Lagavulin.
Sure, that's the problem.
He hurt his knee in Raiders, hurt his back in Temple of Doom.
Yes.
Well, he just goes hard. You know, when you go that hard.
You know.
Idea.
So he did hurt his leg during the filming of the scenes in the woods, and he refused to have any surgery done until the end of filming so that his character could keep the limp because he thought that was great for his character. So anytime you see him limping around, that is actually Harrison Ford with a true injury.
I don't care.
I don't care. You need to have surgery on that, Harrison. I don't care. Harrison Ford running through a bustling St. Patrick's Day parade was not originally planned in the script. It had been revealed that director Andrew Davis, a Chicago native, made this addition. The director was granted permission from the mayor's office to film on the day of the parade, and the entire sequence was shot with a handheld camera, adding to its authenticity. To make the scene more authentic, actors Harrison Ford and Tommy Lee Jones were given no rehearsal and were instructed to improvise their actions during the crowded parade. Surrounded by camera operators trying to keep up with them, the actors were able to blend in with the crowd seamlessly. Ford even observed that his character's low profile helped him remain incognito for several minutes before being recognized by people in the crowd. So, I thought that part was kind of cool.
That is cool.
One of the things about this movie, because when we watched this about a week ago, I watched it with the whole family. And so Nora was watching it with us. It's the first time she'd ever seen it. And what was funny is, even for her, we're watching scenes and she's like, oh, I know where that is. Oh, we were there. Like when we go to Chris Kindle Market, like that's the whole little like courtyard area that we walk through in it. So it was kind of fun for her to be able to like watch this movie. And I feel like that's one of the first movies where she's truly recognized places we've been. Like when it's filmed in Chicago and she can see it and say, oh, that's cool. We've been there.
Well, time to watch Blues Brothers.
Right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. I actually she was telling me about a friend of hers today that had a goldfish named Katie. And I asked, did she catch the Katie? And she's like, no, I think she got it from the store. I'm like, oh, okay. It took her like a couple of minutes. And Sharon finally asked, she's like, okay, what movie is that from?
Doing bits on your kids. I don't know.
I'm always doing bits. According to producer Roy Huggins, Gerard's line in response to Kimble's claim of innocence, the I didn't kill my wife, was originally written as that isn't my problem. It was at the request of Tommy Lee Jones to be changed to I don't care.
And a wonderful choice it was.
And a wonderful choice. Probably the most famous line in the whole movie. According to the DVD commentary, the scene in which the Chicago police interrogate Richard Kimble was completely improvised. Harrison Ford had no idea what questions they were going to ask him. I thought this was kind of a fun one. This was the first American movie in Chinese theaters in over 40 years.
I wonder why this one.
I don't know. Maybe some restrictions had been lifted, but
other than the fact that it's awesome.
But yeah, no, they Chinese audiences were accustomed to only seeing local movies, and they were absolutely blown away when this one came out, and it became a huge hit over in China. So on the personal side, Tommy Lee Jones was a college roommate with Al Gore, former Vice President Al Gore. And then this one I thought was kind of funny. Samuel Holmes Shepard was a neurosurgeon who was convicted of murdering his pregnant wife in 1954. And this is kind of the basis for the original TV series, The Fugitive, kind of loosely based on that. The case at the time in the 50s had pretty widespread media coverage and was fairly controversial for the time. He was exonerated in 1966 when the Supreme Court determined that the first trial's atmosphere had made due process impossible. And after 10 years in prison, he was acquitted at a second trial. But here's the part where, take that a step further. His friend and soon-to-be father-in-law, professional wrestler George Strickland, introduced him to wrestling and trained him for it. So Sam Shepard, the original person that The Fugitive is based off of, debuted in August 1969 at age 45 as a professional wrestler. I'm going to say he made a very poor choice in his nickname. His professional wrestling nickname was Killer Sam Shepard.
Oy.
I'm thinking if you get acquitted of your wife's murder and you'd spent 10 years in prison, maybe you don't call yourself Killer Sam Shepard.
Problematic.
But
problematic at
well,
best.
He's a victim.
Choices.
Read the room.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true. He did wrestle over 40 matches before his death in April 1970, including several tag team bouts with Strickland, his father-in-law, as his partner. So,
that's an interesting family dynamic.
it is.
And at one time he was
Thanksgiving's going to be real interesting.
and it was one time he was a doctor.
He was a doctor. My guess is that maybe after 10 years in prison, he was not able to practice medicine anymore, and maybe that's why he did the professional wrestling, but not sure. It's an interesting career choice.
Who am I to judge?
Yeah. All right, so the synopsis for this one. In a world where justice is blind and the innocent are punished, one man will stop at nothing to clear his name. Dr. Richard Kimble is framed for the murder of his wife. Through narrow escapes and adrenaline-fueled chases, Kimble goes to extreme lengths to find the real killer.
You find that man.
You find. I'd pound the table, but I have everything in front of me. Pat, can you pound the table for me? Thank you. You find that man. There we go. Thank you. That was.
Which one's better?
That was more of a knock. That's not
lackluster.
Yeah,
Let's move on.
Okay, moving on. But when he discovers a conspiracy that goes deeper than he ever imagined, he must race against time to bring the real culprit to justice.
I came home, there was a man in my house. He had an artificial arm.
Are you saying that I killed my wife? Are you saying that I crushed her skull and that I shot her?
Ladies and gentlemen, listen up. We have a fugitive that's been on the run for 90 minutes. Average foot speed over uneven ground, barring injury, is 4 miles an hour. That will give you a radius of 6 miles. What I want out of each and every one of you is a hard target search of every gas station, residence, warehouse, farmhouse, hen house, outhouse, or dog house in this area. Checkpoints will go up at 15 miles. Your fugitive's name is Dr. Richard Kimble. Go get him.
First major moment, and again, this is just kind of a quick flyby of the plot of the movie, and then we'll kind of dig into stuff as we go along. First major moment, Dr. Richard Kimble, a vascular surgeon, is falsely accused and convicted of murdering his wife. So this is the scene where the opening credits go on for probably a good 20 to 30 minutes as we are getting to see the scene of him and his wife at the gala, and then later on he gets called away to go into surgery. His wife goes home. We find out later in the movie that the person hiding in his home who ultimately attacks and murders his wife, it was meant to be him that was going to get killed there, but his wife happened to be the one that came home. And so this is the beginning of the movie where we have him, accused of the murder and interrogated by the police, and then ultimately being convicted, seems like fairly quickly, convicted of the murder, and he is off to jail. Major moment number 2 is the bus versus train. That is where he is being transferred to another facility, and so he is on a bus with a bunch of other prisoners. There is an attack on the bus, causes the bus to crash. Bus crashes and ends up on some train tracks, and then we have the very dramatic train crash into the bus there at the beginning of the movie. The very dramatic scene of then Richard Kimble diving off of that bus into the woods and starting his escape.
That scene always bothers me because of how crap the CGI looks.
Oh. I know.
After we get walking dinosaurs, you think they'd be able to make that look a little bit more realistic. But whatever, that's my only bump in the film.
I would think so. No. Richard Kimble becomes Richard Kimble, MD, and
I think Patrick has a thought.
Oh, you have a thought?
Well, I have an opinion on this matter.
The previous matter, but I can wait till the deeper thoughts.
Yeah, go for it.
The guy was waiting. The one-armed man was waiting to kill Dr. Kimble.
Yeah.
But he killed the wife.
Yes.
Wrong place, wrong time.
Supposed to be a burglary gone wrong.
Right. I guess for the sake of the story, he had to do it, but I guess, did they ever establish why? Like, if she came home, just head out and...
I think she stumbled upon him, and
right.
So as she probably threw something at him or whatnot,
right.
Is sort of the impression I always got.
Yeah. Maybe she identified him, or
could
witness, this guy broke in, and that was, I don't know.
Maybe he's just really stupid.
Yeah.
But he stuck around long enough, though, for Dr. Kimble to come home.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, that's the questioning part there. It's like...
So he figured out how to frame him pretty good.
If he killed her...
Well, he wanted to kill him.
Well, that's right. He wasn't framing him.
He wasn't trying to frame it, but then when that happened, it may have been like, hey, this is also pretty good, too, that I can maybe kill him and do like a murder-suicide thing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and it was...
there's no witnesses, because now she's already a witness. So,
right.
You know what I'm saying? So he's covering his tracks. He's already willing to kill one guy, so what's this person do?
Right.
It's not like he had a moral thing of, I'm just here to kill that guy. Oops, I don't want to kill you.
Right.
Once he
I was just thinking it makes it more sloppy
A little
job,
bit, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
More to,
Yeah, he had to improvise a little bit.
It wasn't very good, anyways.
But
No, he's not a very good criminal.
He's like a first year trumpet. You do what you can. Improvise as best you can.
It's true. So Richard Kimble, MD, becomes Richard Kimble, PI, and spends pretty much the middle part of the movie trying to figure out who the killer is, where the one-armed man came from, like where he got his arm from, and breaking into hospitals to try to figure all this out. And so that's the big chunk of the middle of the movie, is him doing apparently what his legal team never did. That was something that the more I think about this movie, like, I feel like some of these questions should have come up at some point, like, when first of all, when you're being interrogated, if you're a wealthy surgeon, you probably want to ask for your lawyer first thing. Yeah. That might be one thing. And then all these questions that he answers somehow as this amazing investigator, as he's also being pursued by the law, are all things that I'm like, shouldn't we have maybe, if the Chicago police, while they're investigating this, had been doing their job, should we maybe have asked some of these questions and figured some of this out if we had done our due diligence before? But
well, I think it would be a short movie. Revisit that a little bit when
they do, yeah.
FBI is reading the CPD guy the riot act, and he goes, "Wow, we had our guy. It's Kimble," or something to that effect.
Well, it's funny because the scene where I was just like, "Wait a minute, motive? Like, to get the money? Like, that doesn't make any sense." And I was just like, "Oh man, I don't want to not like this movie. I love this." And then all of a sudden, Tommy Lee Jones in that scene said, "Wait a minute, what was his motive? Money? That doesn't make any sense." I'm like, okay, good. Now I'm back to loving this movie because Tommy Lee Jones, he's asking the question that was in my head. So the movie people have considered that, and they inserted that in the movie.
There you go.
And sometimes cases are just blown. It's
also
happened before.
Yeah.
Where things are done sloppy at a scene or whatever, or they just jump to conclusions because it looks like she's saying his name, and it's pretty darn good.
And at a 2+ hour runtime, they had to get through that aspect quick because I think the bulk of the movie was supposed to be other material.
Solving the mystery.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, listening audience, like, I don't hold anything against the movie. It's just kind of when you start thinking about, you watch it multiple times, so you start to think about all those other pieces.
Mm-hmm. You're saying you don't like it is what you're saying.
Pardon me?
So you're saying you don't like it, right? Is that what you're saying, everybody? So all you people who love The Fugitive out there, his name is Pat Canagalli. He does not like the movie.
I'm just going to take a drink here.
Just keep drinking.
I like the movie.
I care.
Dennis, would you like another drink?
I'm good.
Okay. One of the next major moments is one of the big scenes is the St. Patrick's Day parade that he is escaping and then ends up running through the St. Patrick's Day parade. I think my family did not appreciate the scene where he's running through the one federal building and they start to close the doors on him and he gets his foot stuck in there and, Sam Gerard is firing away. As he's running for those doors and they start to close, I was sitting in the back of the living room going, "Close the blast doors, close the blast doors." I was the only one that really appreciated that, and
I find that hard to believe in.
I know. I know. I was shocked. I thought more people would appreciate that. What'd you say?
No, nothing.
I can't even hear you
fix it in post.
across the table over here.
The look on Tommy Lee Jones's face when he realizes that it's bulletproof glass.
Yeah.
He's just like, "Oh, are you kidding me?"
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No. Let's see. Major moment. Go for it.
The fact that none of the guards that are standing there take a step towards the door.
Yeah.
Like, doors closing, dude's running at the door, a bunch of people running after the dude. You're a security guard for this federal building. You've hit close on the door, but you're just going to stand
Yeah,
there.
but with guns pointing towards the door, how close do you want to dive in front of that?
The door's closing, you intercept the guy. I don't know. I feel like you don't stand there, but maybe. I don't know.
I think that this movie is trying to show that all Illinois law enforcement is completely inept.
Because they succeeded in that.
Because throughout the movie, you get the scenes where the first after the train wreck, nobody could have survived that. He's dead. Did you see a body? Did you find it? Nobody's doing their work here? Okay.
Do you want to revise your statement?
Right. No.
That is an interesting trope in any law enforcement movie. There's always one jurisdiction,
local versus federal.
And sometimes it's the federal is the expert, and then sometimes it's the other one, and then sometimes it's kind of there's always got to be someone that knows what they're doing, and it's either the big city cops that don't know what they're doing, and that's That's it's kind of interesting. It kind of gets into some of my deeper thoughts, so I'll wait. But that was an interesting trope to see that. Okay, wait, who are the ones that get it? Who are the ones that, you know? And that's yeah.
It's straight out of one of your favorite movies, The Matrix.
Yeah.
You give me that jurist my diction crap.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So next major moment is Provasic. We discover that the killer is part of a larger conspiracy involving a dangerous Doug. I think that was actually one of the other professional
Dougs, do you?
That was one of the other professional wrestlers that Sam Shepard was
Get him another glass.
wrestling with. It was,
Lord Rambouille over here.
Yeah,
Stat.
dangerous Doug. Yeah.
That'll be your check-in every 25 minutes. Say dangerous Doug.
Dangerous Doug.
A particularly dangerous Doug.
Particularly, yeah.
Named Cibola.
Definitely. There you.
Ooh.
Oh.
That just happened.
Nicely done.
Did you hear that?
No.
That was the mic drop.
Yeah.
Right?
Close the blast doors.
I can't really drop the mic because it
please
damaged
don't.
something.
Yeah, please don't. Okay. Thank you. That was nice. You might have won the podcast. I don't know.
Now, there we go.
And then finally, we have the showdown at the hotel at the end of the movie. Gerard learns the truth. Kimble confronts Nichols and exposes the conspiracy and proves his innocence. And then we finish off the movie with Kimble surrendering. Gerard uncuffs him, and it's pretty much assured that he's going to be exonerated from here on out. So that is the movie. So,
well, thanks for coming over, guys. This
was
was
great.
great.
Everybody. That was great. Good podcast.
I thought you didn't care. I don't. And then he just laughs. I love that part when he's sitting in the car. He's just laughing at him. Don't tell anybody.
All right. Any other major moments? Anything? I mean, we'll get into more stuff as we talk about our deeper thoughts here. But
jumping off the thing into the other thing was pretty cool.
The thing with the thing.
The thing with the guy jumping off the
header into the waterfall.
Yeah,
and the
waterfall.
canal,
the canal or whatever.
that.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
The drainage ditch.
We are professional podcasters. We use words.
Yeah, we use words, man.
They may not be the right words, but they're words.
I know a lot of words.
Do you have the best words?
The bestest words.
I heard some of the best words might have been taken, but it's time for deep thoughts.
And now, deep thoughts.
I have an opinion on this matter.
Don't mince words, Bones. What do you really think?
I like it a lot.
Wow. It's very deep. Thank you.
All right, so let me start off with...
Hey, Dennis, you should just start hitting those bright buttons over there and see what happens.
Which one's the Pat Splained button?
Christmas.
Which one is the... They're so pretty. Let's see. Pat Splained.
Where's the override? The override.
Where's the override? The override. I can't. Pat Splained is the green one.
Okay.
So if you need a Pat Splained, well, it's the green one right now. If I switch screens, it'll be something different. If you want Pat to reject something, it's the yellow one.
Ah, that's even better.
If you want to talk about how there was our understanding there would be no math, it would be the red one.
That's important. Yeah. Do not press the red button.
Don't press the red button. No.
Press the red button.
You disconnect Pat's mic.
He's number 2.
Right here.
You must be very convinced you're right if you have to disconnect
when
my
starts
microphone.
getting it wrong. He starts getting it all wrong.
Push that little button right there. I'm going to start off with a softball easy question here. Do you like this movie?
Yeah, this is fantastic.
Yes.
Superb.
Yes.
How often do I use the words? I always say awesome.
Awesome.
But this is superb. It is a mind-bendingly awesome movie. That's mine.
From beginning to end.
Yeah. Holy buckets.
Like there's not a part of this movie that drags.
Fires on all cylinders. It's from top to bottom, like just fantastic. Acting. We've talked about the editing earlier. The music. I mean, it's pretty fantastic.
This movie kind of revitalizes the thriller movie, right? Like I can't think of a really solid thriller movie in the years prior to this without going back some
Without
time.
going back to Hitchcock?
Yeah, I'm going to say Hitchcock, yeah.
Like this really did something to that genre of the thriller. Then you get mystery aspect of it, right? Trying to solve the crime. This and In the Line of Fire. I think the two of them really did something to take that thriller idea and breathe new life into it.
Yeah.
Love In the Line of Fire. Yeah, it's a good one. I would just say with this one, though, I'm just comparing the two. I would just say, like, I agree that they're both excellent films. This one, though, I was going to say before we made the comment about that was it's one of those movies where if it's on TV and you happen to just catch part of it, like there's no dull part where you wouldn't want to sit there and watch the rest of it. Like it's you're already hooked. Like you're walking by and all of a sudden it's on. You're like, oh geez, okay. And then you could just from that point, there's not like a slow scene that where if you walk by you're like, I got other things to do. It's like the minute you go in, you're hooked into it. So
it's it's almost
you can
like,
jump in anywhere in that movie
like
and it's good.
Yeah, and it's like a perfect balance. Like you'll get a little bit of, and this is kind of what I was saying before with the trope of the different law enforcement agencies that all, and whose turn is it to be the not effective one, but it's like you get a little inept. You get a little bit of mystery, okay, then you get a little bit of police procedural, then you get a little bit of action, then you're back to solving the mystery, then you're back to the police. It's like it really, like you said, and you don't ever get dull. And I can't think of a movie that off the top of my head, but I just seem to think, okay, in some movies it's like you watch a third of the movie and that's all the mystery. Then you get like a third of the movie and that's the procedural. And then you get a third of the movie that's the action. This one just keeps hitting you it really keeps your interest because it keeps going in a different direction.
Well, and the scene that could drag, and I picked up on this last time we watched it, as Kimble is at the one-armed man's house, he's doing his own investigating and trying to put pieces together. I realized for a good portion of the movie, and I was going to go back and watch to time it, there's no dialogue.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
No dialogue at all. And the whole time you're sitting there just locked in. That has the potential to be a scene that's just like, it drags, let's move on, that's something. But you don't even need the dialogue. It's so well put together and so well acted that you're solving the crime with him. You're figuring the mystery out with him. You don't even realize nobody's talking.
Yeah. That's a good point. Because as I was watching, you brought up Hitchcock. And again, there's a very Hitchcock vibe to it. Like something, a type of movie that Hitchcock would make if he was alive at that point. Oh, yeah. And then you also have like the throwback with it's almost like silent film action where it just is going, but you're still watching it. Mm-hmm. So they had to rely on, you brought up something earlier, a good point for once, and it was it was about the facial expressions and about like facial expressions. Like there's so much that they do, all the characters with just the little looks and the little things that they do, which again is a staple of silent films. So when you don't have all this dialogue, you're relying on all of that, and they all do it so excellent, in an excellent manner. And it's just again, the editors all combined it, just make sure everyone did their job. If there were 6 editors, like I think all 6 knocked it out of the park. Yeah. It wasn't like, okay, those 2 editors kind of dropped the ball, which is pretty awesome that they were able to do that with having 6 people. But
and those moments too, when the deputies are getting, or the marshals are getting really close, and then they miss, then they get really close again, and then they miss, and you don't sit there going, oh, come on, just get the guy already. You're just, like it just.
Well, I think it's because you're rooting for him. Yeah. Whereas in a lot of movies like this, you're rooting for the marshals. You're like, oh God,
but
how dumb can you be?
But you don't realize, like, it's this movie. To me, this movie's made in such a way that you don't look at the marshals and go, "Well, those are the bad guys."
No, you've got two. You're rooting for 2 people. You're rooting for him to catch him, but you're also rooting for
you're rooting for Kimble to get away. But you're
there's
also
no
rooting
actual
for
villain in this
Sandra
except for the villain at the
Sandra
end, obviously
Sandra
that he gets revealed. But up until then, there's no. You're almost kind of like, I just want justice.
Yeah. Right.
Like find the truth. Like because you're wrong, and like that you're wrong, but you're right, and you're right.
You don't necessarily know that Kimble's innocent either for a long time. You're hearing his story of what he says happened that night. There's no truth to it other than his story. So you have the knowledge that the cops have.
And you're kind of living it through the Tommy Lee Jones character. Yeah. Because as he starts to put things, and that's what I was referencing earlier when I'm like, well, wait a minute. It was a pretty thin thing just to say he had motive. And that's exactly what Tommy Lee Jones said. It's like, oh, I'm kind of experiencing this through the eyes of...
However, I would say that you do jump on board right away and get the vibe to me that he is like, it doesn't last long that you don't think that you would think he's the murderer. He's like one of those characters that again it's written kind of reminds me of like he's the ultimate good guy. I think of a Captain America, or I think of To Kill a Mockingbird's character. Like he's just a really, really altruistic person. Like, and it's shown by the fact that he, rescues the guard from the train. He stops and risks his own being discovered by helping the misdiagnosed person in the hospital. It's like he's ultimately just the good guy. Right, he never does anything really negative in this whole thing. He's a good,
more than he should if he's.
You could tell it's a good person. Himself. Yeah, and this is not somebody that would have killed his wife. This is somebody who's truly a good person doing good deeds throughout the film, despite being his life on the line.
Well, and it starts with that moment when they have the bus crash.
Yeah, that's
and the other inmate is escaping, and he's like, "Hey, be good.
Be good. Yeah, do good." And that's what he proceeds to do throughout the movie. He's always doing good things while trying to solve this and not get caught.
Yeah, for me, this one was after the first time I saw it, which I think was in high school. I saw it for the first time, and I want to say after watching this for the first time, this was easily a 2 to 3 times a year viewing for me. Like anytime, I think I had the VHS tape, and anytime it might have come on TV, it was anytime, any one of those times it was like, all right, I just need to put a movie on. What are my options? Star Wars, Fugitive, Rocky. I will do Fugitive this time, and so I easily 2, 3, maybe even 4 times a year, I probably would watch this one growing up.
And as many times as I watch it, it's never going to become a background movie.
No.
Because we all have those movies that we'll put on, and eventually it's just stuff that you start time and time again. The more you watch it, the more you start tuning it out. This movie, I can't tune out.
No.
I'm in the zone. I'm focused. I'm in this movie with them.
So I have a question for you about the scene where...
Yes, John. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. The scene where they are running through the tunnels, and he's at the edge of the tunnel, and his only option is to jump off where they're at the dam. And Sam Gerard, they have that line of, I didn't kill my wife, and Sam Gerard says, I don't care. What do you think that says about him as a law enforcement officer? Does that make him a better law enforcement officer that he doesn't care? Or is that...
I think it tells us that, it tells us, the viewer, that he knows his responsibility in this whole thing. Mm-hmm. He's not there to decide guilt or innocence. That is not his job. His job is to capture and bring in this fugitive.
Yeah, he's a marshal. That's his gig.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's not a local law enforcement officer. He's not
invested in the case.
Right.
His job is to bring the guy in. Yeah. That's it. And I love the fact that he changed that line from whatever it was, because I don't think the other line that was scripted sells that point.
What was the other line?
The other line was,
It's not my problem.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I think just by saying I don't care really sells the fact that
he doesn't.
It's not his. Nope. It's not on his radar.
Either way, it's like, it's not like. How do I want to say this? The other line makes it seem like that's not my problem. That's your problem, buddy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care about you. This. I don't care about you, but I don't not care about you.
Yeah.
I just need to bring you in.
Yeah, like I don't care about all that.
That's not my problem right
I'm
now.
doing my
Yeah.
duty. I have to do my duty.
Yeah.
I'm being loyal to my duty and my oath of what I
And
need
to
to
keep
do.
him safe, because like he says before, he's like, you want me to? I need to bring you in to keep you alive before something else happens.
Before the Chicago PD guns you down.
Yeah,
because they think you might have killed one of the prison guards.
Right, right.
Well, not that, but at the end when they're going to associate him shooting the cop on the L.
Yeah.
No, and the other line is just more skeptical. Mm-hmm. Not skeptical, but more cynical. You know, I just don't care about you.
Yeah, that's not my problem.
Indifferent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's also all what you guys were saying. I definitely had the same thoughts about that line. The other piece is that I like. He's like, "Didn't you tell me you didn't care?" And Tommy Lee Jones says, "Well, you were pointing my gun at me at the time."
Right.
And I mean, we know that Richard Kimble is the good altruistic
He doesn't know
person,
that.
but he doesn't know that. All he knows is the guy's got.
Yeah, he's wanted, and
he's sitting there shaking and all that. I mean, it's just like, okay, like.
Well,
even
during
if you
that conversation too, I think that was like he was trying to draw out the conversation because they were tracing the call.
Yeah.
Right. So like, yeah, I recall you were pointing my gun at me, right? Trying to draw that out.
So,
do you have, of all the different kind of chase scenes in this movie, the different interactions between Sam Gerard and Richard Kimble, do you have a favorite? I mean, is it is it that one? Is it the I don't care? Is it?
I like the accidental one at the prison, at the Cook County prison,
Yes.
when Kimball's going down the stairs and Gerard's going up, and all of a sudden he just like they walk past each other.
Richard.
Yeah, and just like I love that.
Yeah,
that's a good.
Like no matter how much planning and tracking you're doing,
yeah,
just the dumb luck that comes with the job as well. And
play that back. I want to hear what an elevated train sounds like. I want to hear that right now. Wait. Focus on that word. Focus on it. Wait. See, like I told you, you can hear an elevated train. It's the last thing he says before Tommy Lee Jones is just awesome.
This is peak Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah.
Man. This is peak Tommy Lee Jones.
And here's my food reference for the night. Right, I love Giardiniera. I love spicy Giardiniera. put it on a sandwich, put it on a pizza, put it in a salad, I can put it anywhere. Now you always kind of like know the taste of giardiniera. It's not gonna blend in and disappear.
Going?
Okay, I got that. But if you love it,
care.
But if you love it, it's always good. And that's kind of what, like, when Tommy Lee Jones is doing the Tommy Lee Jones thing, whether he's playing Two-Face or whether he's playing Sam Gerard or whether he's playing the Colonel or the General in Captain America, right? Like, he's always Tommy Lee Jones, and like, I don't want to say it's the same character, but there's so many same qualities, right? It's like the Giardiniera. You're always going to get that taste. But when it's put into like these, it just adds so much. Like I think that's why I think he won the Best Supporting Actor, Golden Globe and Oscar for this, because it just added so much to the movie. And it's the same kind of thing that's in all his other movies.
And he got the U.S. Marshals.
And he got the U.S.
Marshals. Because the same character. His character was so good, it's like you can make a movie based off his character.
Well, it's great.
This character is written so well, and he just brings it to life.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And and when Katie and I were watching it, we were just like, what is it about this character that just works? Because he sits back, and he doesn't really speak until he knows he's right. Yeah. He carries a lot of confidence with him, but he doesn't like drop the hammer until he knows he's like when the prison bus guy, he's like, yeah, he's dead. And all of a sudden the deputy walks up and he's got the empty handcuffs or whatever. It's like, or I don't even remember what his line is at that point. But like,
you want to revise your statement?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, something about the
He might have got away.
Yeah, just the way he delivers his lines. It's written in a way that like he takes it up to 9, and then the moment he knows he's right, turns it up to 11.
And he's got that like incredible, I don't know if it's sarcastic tone.
Yeah.
But it's like with that dry, but he delivers it for anywhere.
Right away.
It's like, yeah, and it doesn't matter whether he's just like, care to revise that story or what is it when he looks at the young kid? All right, I don't care what they say. Don't let them cut that ponytail. Like whatever. It's always delivered the same way, but it can convey like just withering criticism or like brotherhood, like he did with the.
Here's what you're looking for. Oh wow, gee whiz, looky here. We're always fascinated when we find leg irons with no legs in them.
Yeah.
Just revise your statement.
Like just that moment, like as soon as he knew he's right.
Yeah.
He has great instinct, but he doesn't act on it until he knows he's 100%
Because you can tell, like just by his face, that he knows.
But when you first meet him too, right? When
like,
he first shows up on the scene and he's looking for the local guy that's in charge. And he's like, I need to speak with you. He goes, can you give me a minute? And he just stares at him and goes, okay. That's all he says. And you're just like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
It's Tommy Lee.
Yeah. Tommy Lee Jones just really good. Knocks it out of the park in this movie. And he was great in U.S. Marshals, too. I'm really bummed that movie didn't land as well as Fugitive did. The whole group of them, he is their leader, but the whole group of them are awesome.
That's why I didn't do as well.
What's up?
Because Noah gets killed.
Yeah.
Noah.
I hate that part of that scene.
Oh, and we're talking
U.S. Marshals. Yeah, that's why I can't watch it as much because that one's just hard. I hate that scene. Man, I like Noah.
On that one.
I mean, I'm not saying whatever Paliano guy could have got killed, but I'm like, I think like Noah was just like, it was like the kid, and then at the end he says the line, gets Downey at the end, he shoots him. He says, "Why'd you have to kill that kid?" I mean, that's like a big part of that movie, and it just puts a downer on that movie for me a little bit. Now, I did like U.S. Marshals because it was filmed at Windy City Boxing Gym. There was a scene where in the shower, I was almost there that day. There's a scene where he goes up the stairs in the boxing gym, goes up the scene, boxing. There's a guy who's either dead in the shower up in the boxing gym, and then he runs out. Billy Hillman, if you're out there, Billy Hillman is seen driving a guy that we trained and stuff and worked with, a good friend. He is driving away, and when they come out in the street and look, it's his car taken off. He went there to go work out that day, and he realized it was closed for shooting. So,
but he ended up in the movie.
So his car is as he's leaving. Yeah, he went there to go box. He's like, oh, it's closed because they're filming the U.S. Marshals, so he had to take off. Yeah.
So you guys brought up the team of marshals. The group,
the group
of them,
all characters, all three, all the. It's just a good working group too.
Yeah, and
you like all of them,
and you jump in like you feel like it feels very lived in. Mm-hmm. You like I'd love to find some trivia that they all hung out or so. You know how they do that? They'll get the right feel of it or whatever. But yeah, like I felt like man, this feels like a sequel. Like this feels like they've been in like
we've already known these people for a while.
Yeah.
And they've known
each other.
Yeah. That was really.
They all know their own
just
responsibilities when it comes to doing the job, and they're just as a network of people. They're
well, and I like the writing that the writing of this. They didn't fall for the typical, hey, here's the really bad local guy who's going to be a pain in the neck the whole time. They were inept. The Chicago police, they were inept
as portrayed by the movie.
But there was no bad guy who was just trying to foil something the whole way. Right. Exactly. There was no like, oh, this is, and the marshals, the marshals were not bad people, and Kimble wasn't bad. So you're like, there's nobody that you could just pin the villain hat on until the very end. Really, there's nobody you could, or the guy with the no arm. But it's like you couldn't really do that with any. And normally they play each other against each other. Yeah. So again, you'd have that hometown guy who's either a thorn for the federal and messing him up, and then there's either the federal guy who comes in, and it's the poor hometown sheriff who's trying to do the right thing, and he's getting, and usually they have a character that you really hate.
Yeah,
like he's just so annoying. You're like, this guy,
Yeah,
but like even in the last movie we did, where you had the police chief,
Jesus, here we go.
Just saying, the police chief in the one that we saw, like there was that guy that's just annoying. In this case, there wasn't one.
If you need money for a phone call, Dennis, you can use my cell phone. I'd love to buy you a soda.
That's all the world needs, man.
That's all.
That's all it needs.
I have the McLaughlin Group issue 1 drop. If you need to, you guys need to have a little.
We could do that.
Have a little discussion here.
I'm saying, give peace a chance.
Giardiniera. I hear Giardiniera's.
Tommy Lee Giardiniera.
Giardiniera.
That's the thing. It's
it's got its flavor, but when you put that flavor in something else, it just changes it a little bit.
And if you like anything, if you love it, let the Giardiniera go.
That's right.
And if it comes back to you,
when you put some Giardiniera in a Joel Schumacher,
then it's
That's right.
Yeah.
It was the same. It was the same. All that stuff that we just talked about, like and how he delivered, and the Sam Gerard stuff. That's what made his character so awesome, in Captain America, and that's what made his character as an evil henchman, bad guy. Not henchman because he was, but it's Two-Face. With the Batman. Was it Batman Forever?
Batman Forever. Yeah.
Batman Forever.
I've never heard of that. Is that a movie?
Unfortunately,
yeah.
Depends on who you ask, I think.
But he was super.
It's a pretty hinky Batman movie.
Yeah,
hinky.
It's hinky.
But he was hinky.
What is hinky?
Don't use words that have no meaning.
And then when he walks away, exactly. Like he has a little aside that he
says. He says after he goes, after he's gone,
and
then he says it, which we can all relate to.
You should open a brand of Gerard's Giardiniera.
Right?
Awesome, man.
I can't even say that one. It's like Doug. It's like that Doug guy you're talking about.
Movie.
It's awesome.
Gerard's Giardiniera.
It's awesome, man.
Gerard's Giardiniera.
Put it with the slogan. You can put it on anything.
Put it on anything.
You can put it on anything, and I don't care.
That's it. Right there.
That's it, man. We gotta call him up and we could be the Midwest.
People could go to our merch store and either get T-shirts or Giardiniera.
Or both.
They can put the Giardiniera on a T-shirt.
You could.
I don't care.
I don't care what you do.
I don't care.
I don't care.
My resignation letter is ready to go, man. Just needs a signature.
So Chicago.
I've heard of
My
that.
kind of town.
You heard of that? Your kind of town? Yeah.
It's fun seeing Chicago in the movie.
It is.
Sorry, I preempted you.
I don't know. No, I was just going to say Chicago is. There are some movies where a location is very much a character in the movie, and I feel like Chicago is very much a character in this movie. You have all the scenes when I was watching it with my family.
Culturally too, because you get the St. Patrick's Day celebration,
right,
which is a big deal for Chicagoans.
Yeah, I understand why they can't dye the river blue the other 364 days of the year, but it's just so much fun to see the different scenes. There have been moments lately where if I'm going somewhere and I know that there was a movie filmed there, I always try to take a couple of pictures. Or I always just try to visit somewhere close by. So Christmas time, we were in the city and happened to be right in the area where the steps for the Untouchables were. So I'm like, I got to stop in here. I'm going in here. I don't care where you guys are going, but I'm going in here. I'm going to take a couple pictures. And where we had filmed some of the scenes in Dark Knight. You and I were in Dark Knight. Was that on Sal Street?
Sal Street.
Yeah. Stopped by there a couple of weeks ago. But just it's so much fun to see the different locations in the city here. And for that to be, such a big, the Oxygen, when they used to, that show that David Collins used to do, Star Wars Oxygen. Mm-hmm. It's like Chicago seems to be so much the oxygen of this movie. There's so much of its presence in everything. Another funny thing that I noticed or realized is they mentioned Milwaukee as having an L train. I don't think Milwaukee has an L train. Does it?
I don't know. I try not to go there.
Okay. All right.
I'd have to look at the Google.
Sure they might.
Yeah.
I've driven through there a couple times.
I don't think it does. I don't know. I just noticed that time around because, I mean, I've been to Milwaukee a couple times.
I just can't imagine they would bother to say that if it doesn't.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But on your that jumping back to the question, I just the question about the chase scenes.
Yeah.
And you're tying Chicago, and I think that St. Patrick's scene is very Chicago, very just has a certain vibe to it. And the fact that you just told me, which I didn't know, that it was pretty much all improvised, I'm going to put that up as probably maybe one of my favorite scenes out there because it looks so well planned.
The parade scene.
Well, especially since they're too like the other guys are on the roof of the federal building, and they're like calling down, okay, so going through what's through the plaza, like all of that.
I mean, I was just going to say also just because the handheld effect, but the fact that it's improvised so much of it, the handheld effect is done because it throws you literally in the kind of the disoriented sort of Tommy Lee Jones looking around. He's looking around. He's like almost getting lost in all these people. Like
I want to go
if
back.
you were literally trying to find somebody and you were in that scenario, it actually gave you kind of a nice little POV of what that would feel like to try to find a needle in a haystack right now.
I want to go back and watch the extras just see if any of them are like, holy, that's Harrison Ford.
So I read that bit of trivia before I finished the movie, and so when I watched that scene, all of a sudden I started watching, and now like your second, because they didn't like the organizers knew, but like the people walking in the parade didn't know, right? And Harrison Ford even said he was able to go for a few minutes before they recognized him. And then you can kind of see, like in my mind, you kind of see people looking around, and then suddenly doing a double take, and it's fun to do that, and just like, man, I wonder if that guy was just like, I was right next to Harrison Ford, because you got a person with a camera running up, trying to keep up with him. It's fun to do exactly that.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the audiences or the extras' reactions look great because if you had a guy coming through who is this character, you'd still kind of give those looks like something's kind of off, that this guy's the way he's walking through. You would give like the kind of double look or whatever to somebody. Here they're doing it because it's that Harrison Ford, but it plays into the movie because you would be like, why is this guy walking through our parade? And he looks suspicious. Like, what's going on? Especially nowadays, you'd even look even more.
Yeah. Now you'd
more
be
of a red
afraid
flag. Yeah. Well, yeah.
All right, now you're going to tackle him.
Oh,
yeah.
That's how
you look for anybody
broke his
for
back in the next movie. The Milwaukee Ultraman thing, it turns out that is a movie mistake.
Oh, okay.
It's tracked on moviemistakes.com. There was no, or never has been, a Milwaukee Ultraman.
Okay.
The best they've got is some sort of streetcar thing.
The trolleys.
Yeah.
So I thought there was something that goes up on the North Shore. Nothing? Or is that just the Amtrak?
Probably just Amtrak.
There's an Amtrak. And there's
Metro runs to Milwaukee.
Yeah, Metro. Yeah,
there's a Metro, there's an Amtrak, and they've got this thing they call the Hop, which is like this trolley streetcar thingy.
Yeah.
But no elevated
I thought the L is kind of a pretty uniquely Chicago
Boston's
thing.
got the T.
Okay.
Seattle's got something. There's another one.
They mentioned St. Louis.
Yeah, St. Louis has a little something, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
But it's not as prevalent as like a subway might be.
So what is, I guess for our listeners that are not from Chicago, because we all live in the Chicagoland area, what is it, because Chicago features so prominently in this movie, what would you say to somebody from outside of this area as to what
that old car is worth money?
What's that?
That old car is worth money.
Dean Richards will tell you all about it.
Yeah.
Empire Carpet.
What is the personality of Chicago? Like, what does filming in Chicago bring to this movie?
Big. It's a scope thing. You know, you go film. This movie, I think, explores that, because when you are in North Carolina and you're at the dam and you're at the train, everything feels a little smaller. You get to Chicago and it's big and it's easy to get lost and it's easy to lose the marshals, because the city he's ducking around a corner 2 inches away from these guys and they're not seeing him because there's so many people and so much stuff happening. You know, there's a parade. He ducked right and the marshals are walking around going, I got nothing, because it's so big and so many corners and just
I guess if you know the city, you know how to use it to your advantage, which is what they suggest Kimble does, right? Kimble is from Chicago. He knows the city, and he uses that.
Yeah.
The Marshal, it really shows this is where the Marshals are struggling. Although it seems like they have a pretty sweet Chicago office.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're just using that temporarily or if that's their home base, in which case they really don't sell themselves well with being able to understand the city as well as Kimble does.
Yeah.
It's a good question. If you work for the Marshals and there's a fugitive from Chicago but he derails in Carolina, who gets that call? That's a good question. Is it the guys in Carolina and now you're tracking him back to Chicago, or
if a train leaves Boston
Indeed.
at 9 o'clock in the morning,
I understood there would be no math.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
It was my understanding that there would be no math.
It lights up too.
It does.
I know. It's also fancy. He bought this after we all were meeting in person.
Pat's
so-
going to pour a Giardiniera on there and lick it off at the end of this.
Don't touch it.
If I push Pat's button, is he going to
Don't touch my buttons.
With anything.
I was going to lick him. I was going to touch him.
Yeah.
Lick him.
Yeah. It's my understanding there was going to be no editing.
Oh,
You've been
wow.
lied to.
I misunderstood.
I disabused you of that real quick.
Yeah. If this movie was released today in theaters, what would be the reason you'd go see it?
I don't know if it would be released today.
You don't think it would?
No, it would be. It might be written differently. I think there's a certain trust of the federal agents here that we don't have now. I think there's interesting with the whole pharmaceutical thing about how that's that actually fits from back then, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. It'd be interesting.
It's interesting that you bring that whole piece up with the federal side. I feel like, not that I watch every police show out there, but it just seems like that trope never gets old. There's always going to be that friction between the different jurisdictions.
But I'm just sort of saying, I think it's like you're pulling for the federal government here. You're pulling for Kimble. You're not pulling against any of those people, where now I feel like there's a little bit more distrust in things. And I don't know. I think it would be written differently, too. I think it would be written.
Yeah.
It could be made, but it would be written differently, I think. Yeah.
I would like to go back and watch some of the original show and just kind of see. Obviously, there's would be differences, but just, because that's what, 60s?
60s, yeah, 80s. Like early 60s.
I mean, so that's 20, 30.
That's roughly 30 years before this movie.
Movie.
So 60 years for us, 30 years from this movie. That was another kind of interesting trivia thing, too, is other than the producer, Coppelson, I don't think anybody else working on the movie had watched the old TV series. So he was the only one. He was the only one that had any connection to the old series. Nobody else. Harrison Ford was like, yeah, I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
But bring up your point about would this be made today? I literally think about the whole vibe that we have in our country even right now. It's just in this case, the pharmaceutical industry is the bad guy in this film. It's the villain, and it's willing to kill people for the sake of profit. And there's a lot of people who feel some of that stuff, what gets buried, what gets looked over. So it'd be interesting to see how it would be written, how people would interpret that, and would they read into it differently because of obviously current events. But
would people just be like, "What? You're remaking that movie? How dare you?"
Yeah. Well, I'm saying if it was made for the first time, not remade, not remake, but for the first time, would there be a totally different angle to it? I don't know.
Probably not long before this will be a remake.
That's true. So what would draw you into theaters if this was being made for the first time? If you had not seen this before, you didn't know anything about it, but you went to the theater and there was a movie poster up, let's say movie poster. You walk by, you see a movie poster for this movie. What information on that movie poster is drawing you to come see this movie?
Harrison Ford.
Yeah. Harrison Ford.
Tommy Lee Jones. Yeah. Sorry, Tommy Lee Giardiniera.
Tommy Lee Giardiniera, yeah.
Well, I'm trying to think because this was right when I came out, right when I had a small bit of income, that I could, and a bicycle that I could get to the movie theater and make my own mind up. And I think a buddy of mine went and saw this when it opened in the theater. And so it drew me in back then, and I think, the same thing. I mean, I think it's the movie poster is Harrison Ford. He's
it's just him running.
Yeah, just him running. That's all I need. Oh, some dude's running? Okay, that's going to be cool.
I think there's maybe a blurry train in the background, but otherwise it's just him running.
Yeah, it just looks real kinetic.
But what's interesting, we're talking about what would draw us in is who's in it. But if it came out today, it'd probably be different people. So is it, what on that movie poster is going to draw you in today?
It'd be Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt running.
Sure.
I don't know if it would draw me in. That's the question. I don't know.
Right, like
right away. I mean, I might have seen it, but I'd have to see what the plot. I'd have to find out more. Where I think back then it was enough that it's Harrison Ford.
Right.
Like literally, like everything he was doing is just. He doesn't. It's just what he would choose to do is pretty good work typically. You know, you think of Witness, you think about like even regarding Henry. I liked a lot of films where it was like, oh, I'll go see that.
And I think to this day with Harrison
There's a certain
Ford,
loyalty
it's the
to
same thing.
him.
You're like, okay, sure, I'll give it a shot.
And I'm trying to think.
I played the game with Indy 4.
And I think the only
Maybe, sure.
I lost.
The only not strike against him, but like and it's because you also know that he wanted to get out of it, like the Star Wars stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not like a guy who just wants the paycheck. He's an actor, and he's not even part of like the whole Hollywood scene. From what I remember, I think lives in a very different like lifestyle and everything else, like not like downtown LA or whatever. So I just feel like he's an actor's actor. And when you see those it's like a Daniel Day-Lewis. If I see a Daniel Day-Lewis film, I want to see that film.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's just certain people that you're like, I know
That's
that
why I
person's
wanna
there.
see-
Yeah,
he's why I wanna see
feel like
that in the show.
I'm giving my money to the theater or paying that ticket, that it's worth it. There's certain like musicians that you'll go like, it's not just a cash. Just we're gonna cash in on our past laurels or whatever. It's like something in that script that they liked. So therefore, I want to see the script too because that person's in it. So there's a certain trust with him. I think certain actors have that.
Yeah, he's why I want to see. I remember the name of the show now, so I'm looking it up. Shrinking with Jason
with Shrinking,
Segel. And the reason I want to see it,
it's
Jason Segel a little bit, but it's
you
Harrison
saw him.
Ford.
Yeah, it
That's-
is. Yeah, it is.
That's
yeah,
why I want to see
yeah.
the show.
Have you watched the?
Like, why would he do that? So
Right,
it must
like,
be pretty good.
Sounds like Harrison Ford doing.
Do you watch
essentially
the
television?
Do you watch the
Right.
Yellowstone shows?
Yes.
Have you watched 1883?
I have not.
Or no, 1923? Yeah.
I have not. But
Oh yeah, I've heard that.
Harrison
yeah.
Ford and Helen Mirren. I'm
Yes.
thinking, okay,
Yeah. It's pretty good.
Sure.
Why
Oh,
not?
and that's the like a gruff, kind of like rancher kind of character. Like that's the perfect character for him.
Oh yeah,
Like,
the Harrison Ford to Kevin Costner through line that tracks.
Yeah.
I think Tom Hanks also does that
Mm-hmm.
for me too. Like,
Oh, yeah.
you know, I'm thinking of like how many movies do I see just because that actor's in it.
Yeah, like I'm not a huge Elvis guy, but I'm gonna see that movie because Tom Hanks is in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and back in '93, what were the franchises that nowhere near, I at least to my knowledge, nowhere near of what we have now with franchises, where, well, I know I'm going to see these movies because they're the next in the fill in the blank
Sequence.
of the sequence
Yeah.
of.
Were there any in the early 90s?
I mean,
Well, you did have the first Jurassic Park, but we didn't know it was.
But at the time, we didn't know it was
Right.
going to be the first.
Yeah, that was an interesting time. It was kind of pre-sequel. I mean, you had the Star Wars and whatnot, but it was pre the
big.
You had a lot of the sequels like wrapped up in the late '80s,
Right.
Mhm.
So you didn't really have too many at this
There
point.
wasn't much carrying over.
Yeah.
And I think that
they
goes
weren't
in
doing
Rocky,
they weren't doing remakes
Right.
back then, or nowhere near in the amount
Not
that
to
they're
the
doing
degree.
now.
Yeah.
right.
And I think that stuff sort of goes in cycles.
Yeah.
The audience changes, and people are sick of the same old, so they stop doing the sequels and the part 3s and the part 7s and the Rocky 5000.
Yeah.
Leonard Part 6.
Exactly.
And that's kind of that's.
I'm sorry.
I mean, I interact with some people and ask them about movies, and their opinions would not go well over in this podcast in terms of franchises and big blockbusters and all that. They like, I've got some people that I'm very good friends with, very close with, and it's just like
why
very skeptical. Why am I friends with them?
Yeah.
Because contrary opinions are a good thing, but
Why?
no, but they're very skeptical of like the big franchise thing.
Sure.
Like they want to like, hey, if I'm going to go out and see something, I want to see something unique, and I want to see something new. I don't want to go,
Well, now that it costs so much to do that, yeah, you want to make sure that you're not just throwing your money away.
right.
Totally.
But then I also understand that it's a business, but that's just interesting that like movie. I'm not going to pretend to explain the movie business. I'm
going to be Pat-splained.
No, all I was going to say is I can understand where if you're
His fingers hovering over the button. Keep
yeah,
going.
I know it is. Well, no, I was just going to say like if we can make money from something, and then like if they're going to put money towards it, it already seems like we're going to do one, we're going to do 3 when the money's already there, kind of thing. Whereas I remember it was it Lord of the Rings when Peter Jackson did those, he had approval to do all three, and that was like revolutionary. Like,
That was a big deal.
That was a big deal, and that was.
And then you turn The Hobbit into 3 movies for reasons I don't understand.
To this day.
Other than money.
But I mean, okay, Back to the Future 2 and 3 were shot at the same time, so there's a franchise of sorts.
But but again, that was something that you finished Back to the Future 2, and the credits, like, suddenly you were, it was like, wait, what? You were, and I remember when we recorded the podcast, like, I remember being a kid going, oh my God, they're coming out with another one? Like,
right. That was a big deal, yeah.
That was like a huge deal.
Well, and the reveal that after the first one, there was, like, going to be a sequel.
Yeah.
Like, all of a sudden, the first one ends, you're like, wait a minute. What do you mean to be continued?
Yeah. You wanted to see more story.
So that's very much like The Fugitive, which is why we're all here tonight.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I'm just kind of ruminating on things and you know, all that. Like, why would you go see a movie? And now I go see a movie because why am I gonna go see John Wick 4? Because John Wick 1, 2, and 3 are beyond crazy awesome.
Why did I drop money to go see Cocaine Bear? Because Cocaine Bear.
Right.
Because
So that was
because cocaine is awesome.
But see, there's an example of
something that's
original
unique.
story.
Right.
The 30-something movie podcast does not condone the use of illicit drugs.
Yep.
I will admit, I want to see Cocaine Bear, but I will probably
the Hermanos Rodriguez. Do not.
I will say I'm going to enjoy it, and there might be some.
That was Repo Man.
That was Repo Man.
But I'm going to enjoy Cocaine Bear because that looks awesome.
So
it is awesome.
It just looks awesome.
Oh, by the way, quick interruption here. If we are ever gonna like get together to go see a movie at the same time,
Cocaine Bear 2,
Cocaine Bear 2, Electric Boogaloo, sure.
The search for more money.
Search for more coke.
That's it.
They have a new. This is where I saw Cocaine Bear. Is the Alamo Draft House? I think I sent you guys pictures.
Yeah,
you did.
Yes. It is, the whole thing is kind of John Hughes 80s movie themed, and you can, when you go in there, there's the bar that's there that's part of the box office, and I love the Alamo Draft House theaters anyway because you don't talk in the movie. If anybody talks or takes their phone out, you get kicked out right away. But the whole setup that they have that's all 80s themed and everything, you can rent. They have a bunch of old VHS tapes that are some really obscure stuff. You can rent a VCR, you can rent the tapes, and you go watch them and then bring it back at some point.
Give you the cabling with the VCR because
I think so.
That would be a challenge for some folks.
No, I think they do. But no, the whole setup they've got is so much fun. So I don't know if we ever get the opportunity to all go down to like Wrigleyville just to go see a movie sometime, then we need to do the Alamo
Dennis
Draft
would
House.
go down there to see a baseball game.
That's true.
Wow.
I didn't even go there.
You didn't
man.
go
Like,
there,
I
yeah.
didn't even go there. Like
You're
that's
already poking.
Well, yeah, if the White Sox are playing. Especially this year.
They still play?
you guys give me a hard time.
Boy,
for
you guys
arguing
just,
about it.
Did you guys even see your record last year? Yeah, exactly. Can you even name a player on your team?
I don't even think I watched TV last year.
You just traded all of them away anyway. I don't know who the heck's on that team.
I don't know.
I've waited my whole life, Dennis. Just let me enjoy one day, please. Just let me enjoy one day.
Couldn't even
Can't
let
even
me
name a
enjoy one
lineup,
day.
can you, on that team, man?
Not this year.
Yeah.
No.
He still has the all the memorabilia from Kerry Woods back there. I mean, what is that? That's like having Babe Ruth stuff up. How long ago was that? Jeez.
Yeah, how many times do the Sox drag out Blackjack McDowell?
No, we're moving on. We're a team of the future.
Years.
You guys are in the
years
past.
What's the theme song?
Why they get rid
White
of Chris
Sox.
Bryant?
White Sox.
Why they get rid of
White Sox?
2016, man?
2005, man.
Oh no, we're going 2023 here.
Okay.
We'll see, man.
On that note, are we ready for 3 questions?
It's like
Jeff started it.
No, I didn't.
Jeff started. He touched me.
Hey, for the
Whoa. Hold on.
Wait
Hold
a
on.
minute, wait a minute.
For the record,
He touched me first.
Dennis is across the table. I couldn't reach him if I tried.
That's true.
Dennis, can you show me on this doll where he
Wait a minute. Who brought the doll?
Why is there Giardiniera in this doll?
frankly, I don't care.
Oh my god.
Pat, you had a question?
Yeah, maybe I did. What was my question?
I don't know.
Don't know.
Alamo Draft House.
Yes.
They bring you food.
Yes. Although that night, and there were many angry people, their popcorn machine was broken.
Oh,
that yeah.
For angry people.
It was a
So
serious problem.
is it like knowing full well that I could just Google it, but that's not doesn't make for a great pod.
Oh yeah.
You're doing this for the audience. You're asking these questions for the audience.
I'm serving the audience. I am serving the audience.
Questions they're thinking right now. You're saving them a Google search.
I'm an everyman. So
Pat allow Pat to Pat-splain you. You've been Pat-splained. All right, go ahead.
I failed the podcast. What the heck were we talking about?
I don't know. Alamo Draft House.
Food.
So do they bring you, is it like hot dogs and chips and other, or?
Oh, no. It's good food.
Okay.
It's good stuff.
Is there like a table to eat, or do you get like a?
Yeah, you have like a little table in front of your seat.
Because I'm trying to think of my chances.
You get a party pal. Bring your party pal with you.
Yeah, bring your party pal.
That might be my option to stay awake at movies.
It could be.
Like,
yeah, you can just keep ordering food. You got a little button to push. If you want more stuff, you just write it down on a piece of paper. You push the button, you slide on the paper, they bring you more stuff.
That's like at
Jeff, what's
the
the
Texas State
movie
Brazil,
we're discussing tonight?
Yeah.
So that's
It's
very
like-
much like the
it's
Fugitive,
like that,
which is
but
why
a
we're all
movie.
here tonight.
Reminds me, after the pod, I got
3 questions. 3 questions. Yeah, yes. Each traveler, 5 questions.
What is the
three
airspeed
questions.
velocity of an unladen swallow?
All right, time for 3 questions.
He asks each traveler 5 questions. 3 questions. 3 questions.
It's impossible to answer.
Impossible because you don't know the answer.
Nobody could answer that question.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Like being at Pat's
Yeah,
house.
they have to pay. You have to pay for the food. But
I'm
yes, they
fine
bring more
paying for the food.
Oh yeah,
I'm
and
not
it's
gonna-
it's good
paying
stuff.
for it right
We
now.
all heard that. It's on Pat when we go.
Okay, so
I'm
Pat's
paying for
paying.
food. I'm not gonna like get angry and bash up a shop or something just because I don't like the prices. I mean, like I
I
understand.
mean, the prices are a little steep, so
It's fine.
yeah,
That's fine.
They do not charge 50 cents for a Coke.
That's okay.
You'd be okay with that?
Well, it's okay for Pat.
Okay.
Others at the table, maybe not.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, did you just put
As
change
long
in
as-
the change drawer?
As long as the movie's in English.
I'm gonna go. I'm going down to Wrigleyville to watch John Wick 4 tonight.
There you go. You got at least
All right, well, let me know,
4
'cause-
more hours before you need to sleep. So.
Yeah,
That's true. Are you kidding? He's probably slept 3 times since we've been here.
Just wake me up when we start.
Giardiniera, Pat.
All right, what's our
Okay,
first question?
First of the 3 questions.
Tommy Lee Giardiniera.
If you were assembling a team to track down a fugitive, what 3 movie characters would you choose?
No one at this table.
I was just about to say Dennis and John and Bo and Jeff.
What 3 movie characters?
What 3 movie characters would you choose?
I've been thinking about this all day.
I'll even throw in like TV show characters.
Oh, come on, John.
No, okay, never mind. Then
Oh,
movie
for
characters.
God's sakes.
Fine. Wow.
Sherlock Holmes.
Okay. Ursula Andress, Catherine Deneuve, and Charo twice.
Monica Bellucci.
Hey.
No, but you know what? You bring up a good point, James. So Sherlock Holmes, James Bond. Sherlock Holmes, James Bond, and you need a gadget guy. So maybe
You don't need a gadget guy. There's no gadget guy in this movie.
yeah, I know, but you kind of need one these days. If you're searching for somebody, you need someone
Inspector
who can
Gadget.
do the internet voodoo. So I forget the name of the character, but it's Ving Rhames' character from Mission Impossible.
Oh yeah, okay.
You need that guy.
All right.
Luther.
Bingo. Yep.
I can't wait for Mission Impossible, whatever they're on.
He's gonna go to the Alamo Draft House and watch it tonight.
Exactly.
Doesn't matter; it's not coming out yet.
So, I have a very obscure character.
I love it.
Perfect.
But I'm going to say one of my 3 might be Ed Exley.
Okay.
Guy Pearce's character from LA Confidential.
That's good.
Like he's a very clever guy. Not a strong guy, very smart. I'd want him on my team.
Okay.
Rick Deckard.
The other 2, I'm not there yet. I don't know.
Blade Runner.
I think you took mine. Yeah, that was one of mine.
Rick Deckard.
Yeah.
Nice.
Who else is on your team?
Trying to think.
Okay.
I can't believe
This is a
it.
tough question.
It is.
There's
the one I put off and never got back to.
There's an obscure TV show from the, I want to say mid to late 90s. Time Tracks.
Oh yeah.
If you're going TV, I want Columbo.
Right?
Wait, we're introducing TV.
Well, that's what he.
Well, they didn't throw a fit when I mentioned it.
Yeah,
so
well,
they can
because
do
I
it.
had a TV list, I threw a fit.
That's why. Then,
boy,
why don't you just shut up and just include your
Give him a
TV
50-cent
people and
Coke.
don't throw a fit about it.
Okay, that's fine.
Throwing a fit over something like that.
You just eat your.
I'm
You know what?
I'm a little rattled, but that's
know what?
okay because you know.
You go home, drink your drink, eat your Giardiniera, and you'll be fine.
Maybe Jack Bauer.
Jack Bauer.
Yeah, maybe.
Tangential. That new TV show looks good too. The new Kiefer Sutherland thing.
Yeah.
What's it called? Rabbit Hole?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then
Lorian?
maybe
Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Boba Fett.
maybe
Before
Vic
Coen
Mackey.
Okay.
You ever watch The Shield?
Yeah.
Vic Mackey would be
Okay.
because the premise on that show, he's a cop, but he's not a good cop. Very ethically questionable, but he always manages just to stay one step ahead, and you would want someone that would be able to think that way on your team.
The one that I forgot was Harry Callahan, Dirty Harry.
Oh, right on.
That was the one I had earlier. I had those two. I had that and Rick Deckard, and then I couldn't think of the third.
Jules from Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. I had my three were Rick Deckard was one of mine. Leonard Smalls from Raising Arizona.
Oh.
Bounty Hunter from that.
And the Rocketeer.
I'm picking the entity from It Follows. Because it's not going to stop. Like it's just going to keep going. It's going to track down the person.
Not in the rules.
There are no
He made
rules.
the rules, so I don't know.
There are no rules. Other than Pat can't list TV characters.
That's a hard rule.
Yeah. I love you, Pat.
That's okay, man.
Yeah.
That's okay. I can rise above.
Okay.
I don't want to watch
I'm not gonna walk
LA
around with the
Confidential now.
victim mentality.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm not gonna go like walk through a golf course.
right.
and
I mean, but
blame
if you're having a
everybody
bad
else.
day.
Isn't she?
Pat, I don't know if you know
I'm
this.
mixing-
Sometimes when you
I'm
win,
mixing my movies.
You really lose.
you really lose.
Yeah,
So,
you're right. I'm
yeah.
mixing my movies.
All right.
I'd say Vincent Hanna.
What about
Oh, yeah.
Clarice Starling?
I'd say Vincent Hanna.
Yeah.
I would say Wolverine.
That'd be a good one.
Track someone down.
That's solid.
And then I know I'm recency bias, but I'm gonna say John Wick.
Okay.
That guy can hunt people down. And
Okay. All right. Are we still thinking about this one, or are we moving on to two?
It's your show, man.
All right. If you guys want to keep thinking, you keep thinking. Question number 2. What is your favorite fictional character with a missing body part?
does it disqualify them if the body part was replaced with something?
No.
RoboCop. Is that where you're going?
Oh, now I got something to think about.
Okay.
Mine is Ash Williams. Evil Dead movies.
The boomstick.
Mm-hmm. Farewell to Arms.
I was thinking pretty simple. I was going Nick Fury.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
That's really a good one.
You realize how closely related this movie, The Fugitive, is to Hitchcock's 39 Steps? It's got some really similar stuff in it, and doesn't the villain, isn't he missing like the top of one of his fingers? So he's basically a one-armed man.
Basically, though.
That's a stretch.
It is a bit of a stretch. I needed to stretch. I was feeling a little sore. But
Sounds like a personal problem.
it is a personal problem. So favorite fictional character with a missing body part?
Well, I went. The first thing that literally popped into my head when I read it, I don't know why. Roy Munson from Kingpin.
There you go.
It's a good one.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I know it's not the genre we're talking about.
Ah, it doesn't matter.
But I don't know why that just popped right in.
No genre listed.
First one's the best one usually.
Isn't that where the bullet goes? Yeah. No one. I was just gonna say the last 30 seconds of the podcast. No one knows what I just referenced, but
I think that if they know that movie, Kingpin,
if they knew that
know
movie, the
that
sound
movie.
effects would
Yes.
have. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
What about Chubbs from Happy Gilmore?
Ooh,
Yeah.
good one.
That's a good one.
Rooster Cogburn. He's missing an eye.
There you go.
Rooster Cogburn. Rooster Cogburn. Awesome.
You want to stick around tonight after the pod and watch True Grit?
Yeah. Which one?
Yes.
Yes.
You got any Jordan there?
Tammy, can I sleep over at Jim?
Does the couch pull out?
I'll sleep on the floor. I sleep better on the floor.
Okay.
Something's pulling out.
All right then.
What's the funny.
Do I have a sound drop for the 30 podcast after dark?
No, Pat. No.
No? Okay. No,
Timestamp.
Yeah, well.
Yikes. All right, then.
If you remember to edit, just edit this part, I guess. I don't care.
I don't care.
I don't care. You're going to have to edit this episode. I don't care. Any other good missing body parts? Arms, legs,
hands,
eyeballs, hands, doesn't matter. Heads.
Luke Skywalker.
Luke, yeah.
There you go.
Darth Vader.
Darth Vader.
Mombi from Return to Oz.
Ooh. Creepy.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Dan.
Somewhere
Lieutenant Dan.
over the rainbow.
Oh, that sounds like Lieutenant Dan.
Thought-provoking question.
Everybody's deep in thought.
Yeah.
Deep in something.
I'm just trying to think of characters that are missing body parts.
Yeah.
I have a very short list, and I'm sure there's a lot more.
Yeah.
Inspector Gadget.
Did you just say Inspector Gadget?
Because I was brought up earlier. I just thought of that. It's John's fault.
Always.
When in doubt, blame the host.
That's right.
All right, what's the third question?
All right. The third question is, what is your favorite movie that started off as a TV show?
The Wrath of Khan.
There you go.
Oh.
That's probably one of mine.
Now that's interesting. This is an interesting angle. So are we
Oh, dear. We may have broke Pat.
Did you watch the wheels just grind to a halt right there? You could see it happen in real time.
So here's the thing. Star Trek.
They got clogged with Giardiniera.
Star Trek. Okay, TV show to movie. Bo talked about, now that was a specific episode of Star Trek going to a specific movie. Is that the bar? He just set a pretty high, that was pretty, like, that was outstanding. That was like, wow. I don't know if there's another answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, that'd be good. Yeah, thanks.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
There you go.
Ooh,
Which, okay, like, but if we're linking, like, I'm like what Bo just did.
The look in your eyes scares me a little bit.
I'm just saying that was pretty incredible.
I was only half kidding.
He picked a direct show to a direct movie, not just, hey, Star Trek to Star Trek the movies.
I'm going to have to Google some of this.
The only other thing I can think of would have been, like, remember the cartoon, The Real Ghostbusters? That's reverse, but in timeline.
I'm surprised you didn't go Mission Impossible.
I was going to say
that was going to be my answer. No. Mission
Impossible
Impossible is my answer.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying that, like.
Naked Gun.
Naked Gun, yeah.
Yeah, from the files of Police Squad.
Hey, and wasn't Mission Impossible in the original Mission Impossible movie? Ethan Hunt, his boss, or the guy that was the head of the team, wasn't he the main guy from the show?
I think so. Yeah.
Because I remember
there was a connection there. Yeah.
Because I remember
John
seeing.
Voight?
No, it was a different.
No, John Voight was playing him. John Voight was
playing the character.
Was playing the character,
Yeah.
but it was a different.
Gotcha.
Same character, different actor.
Yes.
But I remember seeing that movie with my dad. My dad goes, "Yeah, I feel that's kind of unfortunate that they made
Jim
a
bad guy.
A bad guy."
Yeah, a lot of people were not pleased about that.
Yeah. Okay. No, I'm sorry, but yes, Mission Impossible.
Mr. Phelps.
Mr. Phelps.
There's a South Park movie.
That's true. Bigger, longer, uncut.
Blame Canada. When in doubt, anyway.
Shut your. No, okay.
Technically,
just make more edits for yourself. God,
yeah.
I mean,
are you going with the Twilight Zone?
Twilight Zone's on the list. The movie was good. It wasn't great. So
I'm not saying it has to be a good movie.
Okay, well then I would go You can go Twilight Zone then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Untouchables.
Yes. Untouchables is good.
X-Files. All those movies weren't.
Yes.
No, Addams Family.
Tales from the Crypt.
You can go through
Simpsons.
those.
Batman.
Charlie's Angels.
True.
Yeah.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
Such a dumb movie.
It's so great, though.
It's so much fun.
I know.
Commodore Schmidlap.
Oh, man.
It's going to be in my next Halloween costume. Commodore Schmidlap.
It's just a fun name to say.
It is.
Schmidlap.
So you can figure out who I am. I'm just going to carry around 4 little piles of dust.
That'd be amazing.
Cocaine John.
Yeah, there you go.
It's gonna be my first guess.
I'm the cocaine bear. I just get a bear costume and just dump a bunch of talcum powder on the nose. I've got a bunch of Halloween costume ideas now. C2E2 is on Friday, so.
So cocaine bear it is.
Are you going?
I'm going on Friday.
Just
Friday.
By yourself?
Yeah.
No family thing this year?
No. We had to buy like a
What's
new,
the-
we had to buy like a new roof and all
what's
kinds
the
of
big
other
draw
stuff,
this year?
Chris Evans is going to be there.
Okay.
This year, like half the cast of Smallville is going to be there. I feel like there's a lot of anime people that I don't know, but yeah, Chris Evans, and I think there's a couple of other big Marvel people that are supposed to be there. But yeah, I'm going on Friday. I was able to get a free ticket for Friday, so
Well done. Because you're a highly known podcaster?
yes. No, it's the teacher ticket. That pro ticket you can apply for as a teacher.
Okay.
You can pay for the whatever.
Don't
like
they
the
know you're not a teacher
$40 one. Educator.
Yeah, I don't even think you're one of those.
Hey, believe I'm educating people every day. They just aren't children. Well,
never mind.
Easy now, get out.
Let's not talk
Just
about behavior.
remember.
easy now. Yeah.
People do listen. Not many. People do listen.
Biologically.
Other than Jason and Dee, I don't know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Hi, boys.
Our listeners are all in Oklahoma, so I should be safe. No. All right. Any other? I think my answer would have either been Star Trek or maybe the X-Files. Although, as a kid, I was a huge Ninja Turtles fan. I would have
think that might
said
have been my answer.
Yeah.
Mission Impossible would have been the one that I like.
Yeah.
I thought of ones. I'm like, yeah, but I don't really like that one. So
yeah.
Mission Impossible is pretty awesome.
That was a good Yeah. In fact, I like that better than the TV show. I like the movies better than the TV show.
Yeah, I've got to go back and rewatch.
I don't know if it's just the date of it, but
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Do you think that had to do
I think it
with
has a
the
lot to do with
effects
it. I
and
think it has a lot to
setting
do with
and
it.
I
Yeah,
mean,
you got Cruise in there. I think he does a great
and the
job. of
budget.
this. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Heck, even Star Trek. You talk about the transition from TV to movies, just the budget and what they're able to get away with.
I mean, those are pretty. They're just pretty good, quick. I mean, you're engaged the whole time, like this film. Not a lot of slow parts in those.
Yeah, way to bring it back full circle.
Yeah.
Nicely done.
That's why we pay you what we pay you.
That's right.
Yes. Yeah. The podcast stipend that we have.
And some Grambuie or whatever I gave me.
Do you want some more? I get you some more.
Yeah, fun.
You good?
Fun drive home.
All right.
Some rubbing alcohol. Bottle of rubbing alcohol is what he gave.
Not rubbing alcohol. It has a very peaty. It has a very peaty kind of woodsy kind of a flavor.
Pete who?
No.
Pete's flavor?
Pete
What
the
are you talking
cat.
about?
Pete the cat. He's got some. He's got some
For the Little
groovy.
Rascals?
He's got some groovy buttons. Pete the cat. Nobody. You got kids.
I know
You know
who
Pete
Pete
the
the
cat.
Cat
Thank
is.
you. Okay, good. Somebody does.
No, I don't.
Somebody out
either.
there does.
Yeah. Pat doesn't know either.
Pat doesn't know. Fine. Whatever.
You're not missing much.
Okay.
Pat just
I mean,
got Bangles the clown over on his.
Bangles the clown.
That's
What's your cat's name?
That's a different.
Are we ripping on the cat now?
Oh,
Be careful.
That was fighting words.
Be careful.
Well, whenever he says his cat's name, it makes me think of it. Whenever he tells me stories, like he was on the couch, I'm like, I just picture a big clown sitting on the couch because the name of it is
We
what?
have Doodle.
Doodle.
Oh.
See, Doodles is a clown in my head. I don't know
However, you did have a cat named
why. Which one?
Bozo.
Yeah, we did.
So,
We did.
I mean, you know, like
that's what I picture too. When you see Bozo, it's just there's a big. He's jumping up on the furniture again. There's a big clown up there going.
I'm going to get you.
Doodle's the clown.
Go home. He's laying there purring on the bed.
Hey,
All right. Do we have any final thoughts about The Fugitive?
Pet clown. What?
Any final thoughts about The Fugitive?
see it if you haven't.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Thinking about the clown now.
Yeah, it's kind of disturbing. It's a little rough.
All right. Well, on that note,
It's like Chuckles the clown in American
Yeah.
Horror.
Yeah.
On that note, we are the 30-something movie podcast. You can find more of our episodes at 30podcast.com.
Whether you like it or not, that's
whether you like it or not. Like, maybe apologizing for this
film
episode.
And check out U.S. Marshals.
Yeah, definitely check out U.S. Marshals.
Yeah. Our next few episodes for the next couple of months, the month of April, is our location month. Our Patreon episode. If you're not over there on Patreon, jump on Patreon and go join us over there as a co-executive producer. Our big episode this month of April, is the Razzies of 1993. We're talking about Indecent Proposal, Body of Evidence, Cliffhanger, Last Action Hero, and Sliver. Our Patreon shorts are Sleepaway Camp from 1983 and Evil Dead Rise from 2023. And then our regular episodes for the month of April they all have a location in the name: Sleepless in Seattle, A Bronx Tale, Gettysburg, and Philadelphia. And in the middle of all that, we're actually going to throw in a very special episode that only Pat was on, coming out, I think, on April 13th, is the Bond movies special that you did with, 4 other podcasts?
4 other podcasts.
4 other podcasts? Yeah. Okay. So our buddies over at the Surely You Can't Be Serious podcast sent me a copy of that one. So we're going to put that one up on our feed as well. So that will be in the middle of the month of April. You get to find out who Pat picked as was it like the greatest Bond girl of all time? Or what was
it? It was the Bond Girl Draft.
Bond Girl Draft. That's what it was. Yeah.
Bond girls into your team.
What are you just grabbing in the air there?
I got
Folks,
nothing.
the visuals are a thing.
Maybe we should go back to Zoom.
What were the names Homer Simpson came up with? It was Chesty LaRue,
Hootie McBoobity.
Yes, yeah. Good night, Hootie. And then Busty Sinclair.
You're honking a horn? What's happening there?
He keeps doing it.
He's the only one that didn't have any Drambuie.
No, that's
I know, that's
we don't know what's in that bottle. Right?
Oh, that's true. That's a pretty big bottle over there.
Bottle's empty.
To be fair, I didn't have any Drambuie.
That's true. You didn't. Well, you had some. You had other stuff, but
I did.
And then the month of May is our action month. Our Patreon is American Graffiti from 1973. Our Patreon shorts are going to be both from 1983. One is Local Hero. The other one is The Hunger. And then our regular episodes for the month of May are In the Line of Fire, Demolition Man, which I'm really excited about, Loaded Weapon 1, Striking Distance, and The Three Musketeers.
Excellent.
So that's what we got going on for the month of May.
Kiefer Sutherland, Three Musketeers.
It is the Kiefer Sutherland Three Musketeers. And Oliver Platt is in that one.
The guy that plays the lawyer and everything.
Yeah.
Now I kind of do remember it.
Yeah. So that's what we got coming up in the month of May. So come back, check those out. And like I said, if you have not gotten onto Patreon, head on over there. You get all kinds of bonus content. At this point, I think we're up to like 55 bonus episodes that you would unlock if you join us over there. So
and great ideas for more that we're just not going to reveal yet.
Absolutely. We do have actually some great ideas for more.
do.
So, and some older movies.
I feel like the one that I texted about.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be tough to fit that into a 15-minute.
It's not going to be a 15-minute one.
Okay.
We're going to do a full. There's a couple. I got one from 1953. We're going to throw in.
We can do a comparison of all of the retellings of.
That's actually, you and I were kind of talking about that. So
except that 1970
really good
version with Charles Grodin, because.
I mean, we could mention it.
Is that the one with the girl, the actress? You're talking about the one with who's the main who's the main actress in it? What's her name?
Yeah, I know. I'm blanking out on two.
I don't remember. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway.
Compelling discussion.
Yeah.
Happening that hillside.
That movie with
The Force
that
Awakens.
one person.
Jessica.
It was The Force Awakens.
Jessica Lange.
Yeah, The Force Awakens. That's what we were thinking of.
Jessica Lange. Grodin.
I'm the walrus.
Yeah.
I'm the walrus.
All right. It was fun to be back together again, guys, in person.
Woo!
Hey,
this was great.
This was
This
awesome.
was fantastic.
Let's do it again.
We're gonna do this again soon.
We're recording American Graffiti soon.
Yeah.
I'm fired up for that movie.
Well, you should be. It's got cars.
Yeah, the John Milner car.
It's got Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We see the John Milner car. The new Mandalorian spaceship makes more sense.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Be excellent to each other. Go watch some good movies. We'll see you back here next time.
Bye.
Bye.